Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making some Boozy delicious rum balls. So let's get started. First off, lug your food processor out. We are gonna be using this to pulse things up. But if you don't have one, grab a big bag and a rolling pin and just be getting to work on that. Into the bowl of my processor, I'm adding 2.5 cups or 250 grams of Nilla wafers. We're gonna process this until they're really fine. If you've never had rum balls before, you're in for a treat. It's an easy snack and they are totally delicious. One of my favorites. These crushed Nilla wafers are the base for our rum balls, and this recipe actually originated in Denmark. Bakers developed this recipe as a way to use up their old cake and pastries and kind of upcycle it. It's the same as an almond croissant, which, if you didn't know, is a way to use day-old croissants. Now we're gonna add 1.25 cups or 135 grams of pecans, and if you ever have pecans in a recipe, especially a no-bake recipe like this, I suggest toasting them to bring the flavor out. The easiest way to do that is pop them onto a baking sheet and bake at 350 for increments of like 3 minutes. 3 minutes and shake, 3 minutes and shake, and you should be done. The pecans are done when they're fragrant. We're gonna pulse this 8 to 10 times until it's finely chopped. If you don't have a food processor, you're gonna be chopping your little heart out. I would just try using a blender, to be honest. My pecans go in with the Nilla wafers now. By the way, if you like my recipes, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's 2 new videos every single week. These rum balls come together so fast. Our processor is done. We're gonna sift some more delicious things into this right now, but let's get rid of this first. You know what hack I saw on TikTok that I really liked? You know, like when you put the strainer over and it always falls down, it's like you put a spoon in and it stays. I was like, oh, that's so helpful.
I love that.
Like, oh, locked in place. It's not my idea, but I'm sharing, because sharing is caring. So anyways, 1 cup of powdered sugar. It's like 120 grams if you're measuring it out. This is definitely a recipe where you can kind of eyeball a lot of the ingredients because it could be a little bit sweeter or a little bit less sweet. It's kind of up to you. We're gonna sift this out. I'll be here for a while. Sift, sift, sift. Oh, right, a little bit of chit chat later, and we have 1 cup of powdered sugar in here, but we want some cocoa powder too. 2 tablespoons is all you need for a little hit of chocolate. And you could use natural or Dutch process, it's up to you. Definitely sift this out. Honestly, unless you're in a hurry, the powdered sugar probably doesn't need to be sifted unless it was super lumpy for some reason. Cocoa powder always does. Nobody wants a big rock of cocoa powder in their mouth. It's gross. And for some contrast, you definitely want half a teaspoon of salt. Grab a whisk, and we're gonna mix this up very well. You have a lot of different things in here with very different densities. It smells good. Just like a soup, this is better the next day and after when the flavors can really come together. So if you wanna make something in advance, this is the thing to do. It's giving really nice, like chocolatey cookie vibes. My dry ingredients are ready. I'm gonna set that aside, and now we just have a little bit of a wet mixture to deal with. Into this small bowl, we're gonna add 1/3 cup of dark rum. This is the magic in a rum ball. If you don't wanna have any alcohol in this recipe, you can use the same amount, 1/3 cup of cold brew coffee, along with 2 teaspoons of rum extract, and that should give you a nice thing to enjoy. But in my opinion, this is the nicest. We also want 2 tablespoons of corn syrup. You could use another inverted sugar if you wanted, like Lyle's golden syrup, which you can get at most supermarkets. This is basically just a sweet glue to hold everything together. Grab your tiniest, cutest whisk, and we're gonna mix this together. This might be obvious, but feel free to use your favorite dark alcohol in this. So it could be whiskey or bourbon instead of rum. It's up to you, and like use what you have in your cabinet or your favorites. Just don't go crazy and use your nicest stuff because this is gonna get mixed in with cocoa powder and sugar, so you'll be losing some of those notes, and if it's like a single malt variety. This smells so good, it's wild. I would drink this right now over ice, but let's mix this in instead. So using your spatula, pour our rum mixture in, and then we're going to mix it all together. Bring this together with your spatula. If you mismeasured, it's totally okay, don't panic. So if it's a bit dry and crumbly, just add a splash of rum in. And if it is super wet, I would really just crush some more Nilla wafers and mix that in until you have a consistency that is dark and wet and will hold together. These rum balls are great on a cookie platter. They're so good. It's one of my favorite holiday recipes. Thoroughly mixed in, we're ready to scoop this up, but these guys are naked. We need to clothe them in something delicious and visually appealing. Dependent on how many different types of things you're rolling your rum balls in, you'll want to have a variety. We have powdered sugar, we have some little nonpareil sprinkles, crushed Nilla wafers, and cocoa powder. Alternate your toppings so it looks really nice when it's presented. Grab a 1 tablespoon sized scoop and either some little cute tiny mini cupcake papers or just have a serving platter at the ready. And we are going to get to scooping and rolling, but there's a trick. If you just scooped this up and then rolled it in your hands, it's gonna kind of crack and fall apart most likely. So what you wanna do is squeeze it together in your little hands and then give it a roll. You just need to like kind of compress it a bit so it doesn't crack. Roll, 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 get it nice and spherical. Then choose your coating and get to rolling. The trickiest are these nonpareils because they are not very sticky. So you have to kind of press the rum ball in. Pop it into your paper and repeat. You will be doing this again and again until all the rum balls are gone. So if you have any little helpers in the kitchen, this would be a great thing to do with their clean hands. These rum balls can be stored in an airtight container for up to 2 weeks or in the freezer for 2 months. Chances are though, they will disappear so quickly. This is the quintessential grab and go, like, a little treat again. Oh, I do deserve a treat, and then all gone. That was just me, no one else in the household is doing that. And just like that, they're ready to enjoy. Perfectly sweet, and I love the flavor of rum coming through with that hint of chocolate. I hope you get a chance to make this delicious recipe, and if you like this video, hit that subscribe button and check out my Christmas playlist.